Hey everyone, my name is Brian, and I'm a trainer here at Film Editing Pro. I think we're going to have a lot of fun putting these scenes together, so let's get started. Welcome to the Secrets of Creative Editing workshop. In this workshop, we're going to be putting together two scenes from a short film. Now, I've already got my project set up here in Avid, but remember, you can follow along in any software you like. And I've begun by creating some folders for all of the different media that I'm going to need. Now, I was provided some footage, and when I open up my footage folder here, I've broken up the footage into the two different scenes that I was given. For example, all of the assets from scene 6 are in this bin right here, which looks a lot like this. And if I open up my scene 8 bin for all of the assets from scene 8, it looks a lot like this. Just a reminder to check the links below this video to find a PDF that shows how we've organized our project, so that if you're following along, you'll be able to match what we've done here. Now, the nice thing about the clips that we've been given for this particular project is that the audio and the video are already merged together into one clip, so there's no need to sync up the audio in preparation for editing. But having read the script and looked at some of the footage, I also made myself an audio folder, and I've broken it into some music that I think I might use, and some sound effects that I think I might use in scene number 6. For example, the ambience, the scene where he jumps onto the bench, and some horse noises. Lastly, I made a folder for graphics, just in case we receive any sort of visual effects or graphics needs for this particular project. Now, there's nothing in here right now because I don't have anything anticipated, but it's good to have that in preparation just in case I might need it in the future. And right down here, I have my sequences folder. Now, if I open that up, I've got my bin with all of my different edits. I'm going to open that up here. And you can see that I have a timeline ready to go, and if I open up this timeline, it has just 2 pieces of footage in it, but nothing really else cut together. This is just to have a little bit of a placeholder in place, and I have all of my different tracks already pre-made. So when I begin doing the actual edit of this movie, all of the tracks that I know I'm going to need from the perfect timeline are already in place. It's really helpful to have a preset sequence ready to go in all of your new projects so that when you hop in to any new project that you begin, it's already ready for you in a very efficient way. Before we continue the lesson, it's time to talk about slate labels because we'll be discussing them later on. Let's take a look at a fairly standard slate. Starting at the top of the slate is the clapper. The camera assistant claps this together while both the sound and the camera are rolling so that the editor has a sync point between those two sources. This moment in the waveform from the audio files syncs up to this moment in the video from the camera files. Fancier slates and fancier cameras will have timecode on them, and in many cases, the timecode on the slate will match the timecode of the audio and the timecode of the camera. This makes the job of syncing audio and video very easy. Moving down a slate, typically you'll find 3 boxes. On the left, you'll see roll. The information in here varies from shoot to shoot, but usually it begins with a letter indicating which camera is being recorded in the case that there is more than one camera filming at once. And the number indicates which card or roll of film is being recorded. As the shoot goes on, the number will increase as the camera team continues to record footage. In the middle of the slate, you'll typically see the scene. It's most common to begin a scene with just the scene number based on the script. For instance, we'll begin counting shots with 8, indicating it's the first shot of scene 8. Some film crews will begin with the scene number followed by the letter A, such as scene 8A. As the film crew continues to shoot more shots for a scene, they'll incrementally increase the letter, so the next shot in scene 8 will be shot 8B, then 8C, and so on. Finally, on the right side, you'll see the take. This usually begins at 1 and counts up as the filmmakers try out more attempts at the shot. It's not uncommon to have 4 to 5 takes in a given shot. In some cases, you might only have 1 take, while in other cases, such as complicated stunts or difficult choreography, you might need a lot more takes to get it right. Usually, the last take of a shot is called the safety, and it's the take a director does after they feel they've gotten the shot right to allow for one last chance to tweak before moving on. In some cases, a director will just need to pick up one small part of a shot without doing the entire take, and this would be indicated with a PU written after the take number, such as shot 8E, take 6, PU. Slates also provide useful information when you need to investigate technical information about the footage, or want to get into the mind of the filmmakers as you are cutting, such as the date the scene was shot and whether or not the shot was intended to have production audio, otherwise known as MOS. Now the first step in preparing for this project is to go through all the different shots that are in my bins. Let's begin by looking at scene 8. Before I get started with any actual editing, I want to go ahead and organize this bin with some colors so that I know what shot belongs to which character. Let me open up scene 8A, take 1 here, and scrub through it. And this shot here looks like coverage of this character. Now if I were to come down to a little bit lower, perhaps shot 8D, take 1 right here, and scrub through that. This one looks like coverage of this character. So for all of scene 8, we're going to organize our shots by color coding them for the characters in the scene. So I'm going to open up each one of these shots into my source and see whose coverage it is so we know what color to assign it. So we know that 8A is this character. Let's check out 8B now. 8B is also this character in a bit of a wider angle. So let's go ahead and color code 8A and 8B with a blue color. Great. And you can see in my software here that when I change the color of the clips in the bin, it also changes the color of that same clip on the timeline. So you want to go ahead and set this up for whatever software you're using. Now let's come down to shot 8C. And this is the coverage of this character here. And we know that 8D is also the coverage of that same character. So let's give this character a yellow color. So we'll do 8C and 8D yellow. Now let's see where these other shots are down here. This shot here appears to be a wider shot of the scene, and it also looks to be handheld, which is very different from the other shots that we just looked at. So I'm going to give this one a different color coding. I'm going to use pink for this shot. Let's see what we have down here. We have 8F. 8F appears to be an exterior shot. Maybe this is him approaching the house. And 8G appears to be the same sort of thing, but from a different angle. So let's give both of those an orange color to differentiate them. Even though these are shots of the same character, I'm using a different color than blue here because these shots take place outside, prior to the scene, and I know that I won't be intercutting it with my other coverage of this scene. I'm using the orange and pink colors to further differentiate not only characters, but shots that function more as insert shots, point of view shots, or establishing shots. Now we can look at scene 6 and do the same thing. Let me start with 6A here. This appears to be him running up to this bench and kind of jumping onto it. So that's all of 6A. 6B is a bit of a close-up of that same thing. Let's check out 6C here. That's also another close-up with a different camera angle. And 6D. That's a similar situation. The camera's now in a different perspective, but filming the same moment. Let's give all these one color. Let's do a blue color for all of these here. Blue is the color that we used for this same character in scene 8, so trying to keep it consistent from scene to scene is going to be very helpful in our organization. Now we're going to check out shot 6E here. Now this is a different shot. This is over his shoulder, and it appears to be looking at the horse. Now he's not in this shot here. Let's check out a different take and make sure this is actually the shot. Yep, right here. So we have the horse in frame, and it's over his shoulder. So we'll give this a different color coding as if the horse is a brand new character. Let's go with a brown color. And we'll check out 6F. So this appears to be earlier, before he jumps onto the bench. Even though the letter of the shot is a little bit later in the organization, it's possible this was filmed later in production. And this is also the Tom character. So we're going to give these blue color as well. Now, if you're curious about all these different scene shots, letters, and numbers, let me show you where we're getting that information from. Let's open up right here, 8E-02. Now, if you read the slate in the shot, you can see that the production crew gave this shot a scene number and a shot letter right here and a take number. So this is essentially scene 8, shot E, take 2. And right here, this information tells you which card or camera roll this shot was shot on. This is all really useful information to have available to you as an editor because it tells you when things were filmed throughout the day of production or on what day of production they were filmed on. And it gives you an idea of what the production crew were going for while they were filming. So you might see a scenario, like in scene 8 here, where you look at the first take of something. This is 8A take 1. And you can see that we moved down the line 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then when we get to shot 8A, we did a 5 PU, standing for pickup. And if you look at 8A-05 PU, it only goes up to a certain part of the scene. It doesn't go all the way. This means that the filmmakers on the set decided they only needed to cover this one moment to get it a little bit better, and then they moved on to something else. So moving on from 8A, 5 pickup, and 6 pickup, they then moved on to shot 8B, meaning that 8A take 4 was the last time that the actors performed the scene in its entirety, and it's probably the point when the director felt like he got the shot just right. This lesson is going to have some homework. First, create a new project in your editing software and import the media. Next, organize the assets in bins or folders depending on how your editing software works. Finally, label the footage by color coding. If your editing software doesn't allow for color coding of clips, try adding a prefix to their names or putting groups of clips into folders for easier sorting and searching. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to be creating a line breakdown.